is.
Yes, sir.
Right, now get on with that. I'm going to watch new Gastronuts, right? And you just get rid of that egg smell. It stinks in here. It stinks of eggs. Eggs!
I wanted to batter a fish today. Unfortunately, he battered me first. Most of us love tucking into a big, greasy portion of crisp, battered fish, surrounded by a sea of chips. But we seem to stick to the same old types of fish when there are thousands of other fish in the sea and thousands of different ways to cook them. Are we missing out? Coming up, the Gastronuts come eye to eye with some sea monsters. That's what you eat, the tail.
Oh, that makes me sick. I can't eat that.
They set fire to their dinner.
Yeah.
And get their fingers stuck in a gut. Get your whole hand in there, grab all the bits, and pull them out. I can't do this on my own, so here to help are today's intrepid Gastronuts.
The strangest thing I have eaten was mussels, and it was disgusting.
It puts me off sometimes when you see them when they're dead before they're cooked, because you see their eyes, they're staring at you.
It's normal to eat fish. You eat chicken, you eat fish, not much of a difference. The strangest fish I've ever tried is skate. It was very chewy and it wasn't very nice.
My favourite fish is cod because when you go to the fish and chip shop, it's really crispy and I like crispy things.
In the UK, we buy over 250 million portions of fish and chips every year, and most of it is cod, haddock or plaice. But cod's running out, and we need to find new fish to fry. To help us, we've come to a chip shop where the owner is happy to batter up something different. Wow, does that smell good?
Yeah!
OK, now when we think about fish and chips, what sort of fish are we normally talking about?
Cod.
Cod. It's usually cod, isn't it? Yeah. What sort of way do we normally get it cooked?
In batter.
In batter, just like that, isn't it? It looks all golden and lovely to eat, doesn't it? Well, I just wondered, what if there was something else underneath that batter? Would you know that there was something else? Would you be prepared to try it?
Yes.
Yeah? Excellent, OK. I'd like 6 of your finest fish and chips, please. This is what cod looks like before getting battered. But today, the Gastronuts are going to try something a little different with their chips. Deep-fried squid, soft-shelled crab and crayfish. There you go. Fantastic. OK, everyone grab a box. You feeling brave?
Yeah.
OK, let's go. Let's have a little look. What have you got? OK, guys, you ready to tuck in?
Yeah.
I want to hear all about it. So, take a little piece and have a bite. The Gastronuts don't exactly know what they're eating, but will they like the taste of their hidden dinner?
It tastes fishy, but
Not in a good way.
yeah.
Okay, wait. And what about you, Freddie? What did you think about it?
Well, it's very squidgy.
And it's very chewy. It hasn't got like a very distinctive taste, it's very mild.
OK. Lucy, what do you think that is?
I think I might have a prawn because it's quite nice and soft, and normally prawns are rather soft.
But is that good or is it bad? Do you like it?
Yeah, definitely.
Excellent. Well, I thought we should take a little look at what these were like before they were cooked. Yeah? OK, follow me. OK, let's take a look.
That looks disgusting.
It does look a bit weird when it's like that.
Why is one tentacle longer than the rest?
Because they're the ones that go "Roar!" like that and try and grab you. Who wants to touch it?
No,
Have a little touch.
find a microphone.
Oh, man, horrible.
It's quite strange, isn't it?
The eyes are squishy.
Moments ago, the Gastros were more than happy to munch the squid when it had its battery disguise on. But the strangeness of the raw ingredients is freaking them out. Everyone willing to touch the arms? Do you know what? The legs are really nice to eat as well. Yeah, it's all good stuff. Yeah, that's a really good fish. OK, here we have the soft-shelled crab before it was put in batter. The Gastronuts scoffed down the crab, legs, shell and all, so it must have tasted OK. Is it just the look of it that's now putting everyone off? If you touch the back, that's the soft shell. None of it is actually really hard. Have a little look. It's still got all the eyes on, and you can eat all of the mouth and all the little bony bits that you normally find in a grown-up crab. Here's the last one. Now, these are extraordinary, aren't they? Look at that.
They're shrimps.
Those are crayfish. That's what you eat. The tail.
Oh, that makes me sick.
I can't eat that.
And that's the bit that you've eaten there.
Aw.
There you go. It looks like something from a horror movie, but it tasted great. Can the gastros get past the way that the fish looks? So my question for you is, if you'd have seen that before it was covered in batter, do you think you still would have eaten it?
No.
Why is that? Why
It just doesn't look as nice.
The batter seemed to act like a blindfold for the gastros. Like many people, they loved how the fish tasted and hated how it looked. I'm quite inspired because the Gastronuts were really, really brave. They tried soft-shell crab. If you've never had one before, they're really weird to eat. So I think we might go on some fantastic fish adventures. Perhaps we'll find that there's life beyond battered cod and chips. It's 6 o'clock in the morning. I've got up early to come here to Billingsgate. Now, Billingsgate is Britain's biggest fish market, and I've come here to find out what kind of fish are available around the shores of Britain. I want to discover the huge variety of fish that we catch in the UK, but hardly ever eat. Fish fanatic CJ is going to show me what we're missing out on, starting with a potential replacement for cod called pollock.
Pollock's becoming more popular, it's more trendy now, and you will find that fishmongers are beginning to sell them, but certainly you'll get them in fish and chip shops. It's something really worth trying.
Sounds a bit weird, I like pollock and chips. Yeah, but you should give it a try. But I don't just want to get my fish battered in the chippy. I want to know which fish I can make part of my daily diet.
Well, a really good example, these are actually razor clams, really just fantastic, just grilled and simply cooked.
But we never see these in the shops, really, in Britain, do we?
Well, I think it's partly to do with the fact that the British are a bit squeamish about things. That is a native lobster, comes from our own coastline.
Wow, he looks quite cheeky.
It's really lovely. When lobster cooks, there's a heat-sensitive pigment under the shell, and you can see the box over there that they're bright orange.
So that's not a different breed, that's
No,
just when
exactly
they've been
the
cooked.
same thing. This guy's interesting. He's a conger eel, one with a pretty foul temper, actually, but quite a big guy.
Oh, my gosh. Look at that.
The thing with eating this is really nice and meaty. It tastes a little bit like pork.
You see, I think a lot of people will be put off Mr. Conger because he's quite ugly, isn't he?
It's not the best-looking guy.
So you sort of think, oh, I don't really want to try that. In actual fact, some of the ugliest fish are some of the tastiest fish.
The thing is, people don't want anything but cod and haddock, you know, and
They're
therefore
stuck in their ways.
They're stuck in
People
their
are-
ways. There's loads of other things to try. You could practically have a different fish every night of the week for a month or two, and still have only used some of the species that are available around our own coastline.
These are extraordinary. Look at that.
Now that's John Dory. Quite an extraordinary fish, and probably the best flavoured fish you're going to get on the market, in my opinion.
He's an ugly fella, isn't he?
He is, and actually has this retractable jaw. The whole jaw opens,
How do you put it? Oh my gosh, look at that.
really pulls out.
Well, I'm very tempted to try some of these, so I'll buy a couple of these, and will you come and taste them with me?
Yeah, I'd love to. Fantastic.
So here we go, a fishmonger's breakfast. You don't need a recipe for this. Just cut slices in the John Dory, season with salt and pepper, rub with olive oil, then stuff with some fresh mixed herbs before whacking it on the grill. In here's my favourite part of any fish. That is the cheek, and that's always, because it's so close to the bone, there's bone all around it, it stays so moist, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Now we're going to celebrate the John Dory's mouth by making it more pretty. Like that. Now that can go straight on the grill. There we go. Doesn't quite fit on my grill here. So what are the key things to remember when you're cooking fish?
You can see here, it looks quite translucent. When you flip it over, on the other side, what we're looking for is that translucency to be opaque and nice and white. The other thing is, you've got the eye. When the fish is cooked, that eye is going to go completely white.
After 5 minutes grilling on each side, the ugly fish makes a beautiful brekkie. Again, it looks quite sort of scrappy. There's sort of bits floating off it everywhere, but that's exactly how you want it, isn't it?
Well, definitely, and the fact it's cooked on the bone have much more flavour. You know, we're so used to seeing little fillets now, and you don't get bone and eyes and everything else. It's a real pity.
We've got some porters here, guys. Would you like to come and try some with us? Quite a treat having John Dory for breakfast for me.
Yes,
you
absolutely.
guys probably have this all the time.
Cooked to perfection. Lovely.
Gorgeous.
OK, well, I'm going to save this bit for me. This is my favourite bit of the lot. This is the cheek.
I think you've got a cheek taking that bit.
Chef's privilege.
Very nice. Good.
Is that all right?
Yeah. Cooked. Lovely. Yes, that is nice.
Tasty, easy to cook, and without any batter in sight. I can definitely say there are plenty more fish in the sea than cod.
Christmas Island in the South Pacific is home to an estimated 120 million red crabs. Each year in the rainy season, they all move en masse from the forest to the coast in order to breed, and the ground looks like it has a moving red carpet. Larger, but less numerous, is the Japanese spider crab. With a 4-metre leg span, it makes for a terrifying sight, and a potentially brilliant goalkeeper.
Many people are put off eating fish because they don't feel they know how to cook it. Fish can be boiled, baked, grilled or fried, but it's incredibly versatile and can be cooked in loads of unusual ways, and sometimes not even cooked at all. So what we're going to try here is some extraordinary cooking methods and some wild ways of eating fish. Now, I'm going to cut up some tiny thin slivers of fish, and I need you guys to make a mixture of lime juice and lemon juice in here. So this is a way of cooking without using heat. It's called ceviche, and it's a South American dish, really, really popular out there. If you grab a fork each and jam it into the limes and squeeze as much of the juice out into this bowl as you can. So the fish we've got here is trout and halibut. And the trout's really good. It's very oily fish. It's a bit like salmon. And the halibut is a much leaner fish. All that we're going to do is soak all of this fish in lemon and lime juice, and that's called citric acid. And it does the same thing as when you cook. Basically, when you cook, you're changing the proteins in the food. And as well as heat doing that, you can do exactly the same thing, but using acid. And it also gives it a fantastic taste as well. So how are you doing over there, guys?
Good. Yeah.
Oh, that looks perfect. Okay, now I think you can stop there. That's probably enough lemon and lime juice. And you need to mix in some of that olive oil. Bit of pepper. Fantastic. And then Lucy, if you can just pour it all over there for me. A whole lot.
Is this cooked at restaurants?
You can buy this at restaurants, yeah, absolutely. It's a very popular thing to eat. Okay, stop right there. This needs to marinate in here for about half an hour to an hour for all of the acid in the lemons and limes to cook the fish. But now I want to show you my favourite cooking method of all time. Okay, would you like to try that?
Yeah.
Follow me. While the acid from the lemons and limes are creating our ceviche, we're going to try another method of cooking fish that's a world away from battering. Now, this is called hot smoking. It was invented basically as a way of preserving food. Now, all we need is a tin. Joshua, grab a handful of chips for me. Excellent, and just scatter them around the bottom there. Lovely. Now, you need to use the right sort of wood chips for this, because if you use things like pine, it can give off this resin, which is a really horrible flavour. So try and get proper smoking chips. Now, what you do is you have to make a little shelf halfway up your tin to be able to put a grill on, because that's what our food is going to sit on. So, put our grill on there, and then we need to oil the grill to make sure that the food doesn't stick to it. So, Freddie, if you can grab that oil there and paint with the paintbrush all over the metal there. That's it, give it a real good slathering of it.
So when can you use a method like this?
Anytime you want something really big and earthy and smoky and strong, it's great with fish, especially oily fish, things like mackerel, salmon or trout. So what we've got here is a bit of salmon and a bit of trout. So, Sophia, if you'd like to take the top off that. Lucy, if you grab that. Now, let's squeeze on as many fillets as you can on there.
So can you use this with stuff other than fish?
Yeah, you can do it with chicken. It's really good with chicken. Hot smoked chicken's fantastic. So, Freddie, if you grab that piece of foil and lay it over the top, that's going to be our kind of airtight seal. Sophia, if you can get the lid. Excellent. And Mike, the final stroke. Can you come around and turn it on for me? We're there. Very good. Okay. Now, all we have to do is sit and wait. To get a nice smoky flavour, we're cooking the fish for about 15 minutes. Pluck your noses. Let's have a little look.
Try it's cooked.
Oh, do you know what? That looks perfect. OK, why don't you see if you can grab the salmon pieces, Lucy? Up. Oh, nearly. Excellent. OK, that's fantastic. That's all right. It's quite tricky, isn't it? I'll see if I can get these out. Quite tricky.
Why are there bubbles on the top?
Well, it's the moisture that comes out of the fish, and it doesn't really have anywhere to go, so it bubbles up and then just sits there. OK.
That's everyone on it. Go out and touch the bottom of it.
Well, let's try it, everyone. Take a little piece. So you need to, with these bits here, the long fillets of trout, you need to watch out for the bones in them. In this salmon here, there shouldn't be any bones, but watch out just in case.
Really nice.
Really, really nice.
It's nicer than all the cooked fish I've tasted before.
Very oily.
Oily, yeah.
Slippery.
You look like gannets, you lot. The smoked fish has been a triumph. Let's see if our ceviche has worked out just as well. So we'd marinated this for about half an hour to an hour in all that citric acid, all that lemon and lime juice with some olive oil and some pepper. It should be just about ready. Let's take a look. Okay, so what you do is you take little fish fillets out of the marinade and grab a little piece on your fork. Yeah, don't be afraid of getting your fingers in there. The fish hasn't been cooked in any normal way, just left in the lemon and lime juice. What will the gastronuts think of its flavour?
Sour. Because of all the lemon and lime, it kind of tastes really sour.
It's really sour, but it's kind of really fresh, isn't it? It's got a real bite to it.
I still, as the same as Freddie, I found it really, really sour.
Really sour. Is that good or bad?
Kind of bad.
Kind of bad.
I don't really like sour things.
I really, really like it. I'm going to ask my mum to cook it.
Hey!
I think that when I tried the halibut, it had a very tangy taste, but it was also very refreshing when I had it.
Ah! What's amazing about this is you can also overcook it. Sounds bizarre, but if you leave it in all this citric acid for too long, it goes really sort of squeaky on your teeth. It goes really dry. It sort of drains all the nice juices out of it. But I think this is a fantastic way to cook. And it's just so easy. You just leave it in some citric acid for a while. Making ceviche is pretty much effort-free. But if you're feeling even more lazy, why not cut out cooking altogether? What we've got here is a beautiful, beautiful piece of tuna. Okay? All you need to do is cut it very carefully. The important thing here is that it's really, really, really fresh. So who's eaten raw fish before? No?
I think fish should always be cooked. I don't like the idea of eating it just raw.
Okay, but will you try it for me?
Yeah.
You're such a star. Because what's really important, you're absolutely right, with some fish, it's not such a good idea. You need fish that you can be absolutely certain is spanking fresh. Otherwise, you know, fish can be a little bit dangerous to eat. Okay, grab a fork, everyone. Not so long ago, the only fish the gastronuts would eat was battered cod. Can they really stomach raw tuna? Hey, Freddie, you grab a piece of there.
Thank you.
To help the raw fish go down easier, the gastros are going to eat it sushi style, with some soy sauce and some Japanese horseradish called wasabi. Okay, go for it. Tell me what you think.
I like it. It's not bad. It tastes like sardines.
Like sardines? How interesting.
It's sort of a mixture of everything. Sweet, bitter, salty. It's got a mixture of everything, basically. I think it tastes like salmon.
Like salmon? Yeah.
It was nice, but wasn't fantastic.
Okay.
I'm not too keen on fish.
You're not too keen on fish? This isn't the dish for you then, I guess. I think you're all incredibly brave because trying these things for the first time is always quite, it's quite scary.
I was very surprised because I thought that you always had to cook fish to make it taste nice, but I realised that you can have it raw and it still tastes as nice as the fish which is cooked.
The deepest part of the ocean is known as the abyss, where no daylight penetrates and the weight of all the water above and the lack of oxygen allows very few fish to live. Creatures that do live in the abyss are often ugly, gigantic, or both. The giant isopod looks like a woodlouse, but can be over 20 times bigger. The giant squid can reach lengths of up to 14 metres, which is longer than a double-decker bus. The giant squid has a legendary bigger cousin, the colossal squid. Very few specimens have ever been found, but estimates suggest they could be as much as 20 metres long and have the largest eyes in the animal kingdom, which are as big as footballs. We're on a voyage of discovery to find out if there are more fish we can eat than the old favourites like cod. They're the ones that go like that and try and grab you. The gastros have got past the way fish looks, learnt new ways of cooking it, and even eaten it raw.
like it, it's not bad.
Gone fishing.
You know.
Now, the Gastronuts are going to try and get the freshest fish it's possible to eat by catching it themselves. This reservoir is full of fish like pike, bream and perch. Let's hope we can reel one in.
OK, let's go fishing. So the great thing about fishing is that you can just hang out with your mates, trying to catch your dinner. A farmer can't really do that. He can't really just nip out and lasso a cow. But with fishing, you can just drop your rod in the river and see if you can catch supper, which we're not quite managing to do. But we're having fun, aren't we?
Yes.
Yeah.
And so are the fish, watching us, not catching them, for our tea.
OK, guys, I think it's time to give up. It's been really good news if we'd caught a fish, because then we could have had supper. But I have to say, I did think that this might happen. And so, just in case, a friend of mine went out this morning and got me that. Beautiful carp. Beautiful carp, beautiful freshwater fish. So I thought, let's cook that for lunch. OK?
Had we stuck around a bit longer, then carp was one of the fish we could have caught.
So first of all, you need to open up its stomach cavity so that you can get all the guts out, OK?
In order to prepare a fish, it must be cut open and gutted. So if you're squeamish, now might be a good time to leave the room and do something that doesn't involve seeing fish innards.
So you put the knife in just below where the jaw is, and then all the way down to its bum. You can see the blood, can't you? OK, we're going to go all the way down here.
I can't.
Seems a shame, doesn't it? Now, this is quite a disgusting bit to do. Can you see in there? You all see that?
Oh, that's gross.
That's a little bit what you look like inside.
But a lot
Generally
bigger.
like that, only a lot bigger. Now, it's a horrible... Gutting fish is a really mucky, disgusting thing to do. So I'm not going to do it. You are. Here we go. OK, step back a bit.
Oh, no way.
There's one. And there's yours.
Oh, he just had some.
Now it's time to get your hands dirty. OK, Sophia?
Yes.
So get your hand right in there. You need to just pull all of that stuff out.
What? Just pick it out with your hand?
Get your whole hand in there, grab all the bits,
Do that a bit
and pull them out.
for you.
That's good, that's good. OK,
Pull it out.
I think you've got a bit of the liver there, a bit of the roe. You have to pull until, and it'll pull off. That's it. That's good stuff. Go on, Freddie. In you go.
Go on, I'll hold it open.
Oh, look, that air bubble was burnt.
Oh,
Excellent. Will you grab that out?
There's a little bit
that's
at
fine.
the top.
Yeah, lots of stuff up at the top there. In you go.
Pull it. Oh.
At the top,
They're making a bit of a meal of it, these boys, aren't they?
This is actually quite fun. You're right.
This, look at
It is quite tricky as well. OK.
so good.
OK, now this is extraordinary. This thing here is the swim bladder, and that helps the fish maintain the right height in the water, and it'll blow it up with air when it needs to rise up, and then it'll deflate it when it needs to sink again.
Oh man, this is so
How are you doing? Is that nearly everything out?
I think so.
That was brilliant. Now, the last thing we've got to do is take the scales off. So you've got all these ones along the back there, some along the tail, and then a few along the belly, and they've got to come off because you can't really eat them. Really hard, scrape along the back, that's it. And they'll fly off. Brilliant. You might need to pull some of the last ones off with your fingers. That's it. So we've done the gutting and the scaling. It's time to wash the fish, ready to cook it. You'll need to grab it with both hands from the bottom. That's it. It's tricky, isn't it? Hold it nice and tight. OK, there we go. And just drop it a bit lower. Just get more in there. Lovely. OK, put it onto the blue chopping board. OK, that's brilliant. OK, guys, 2 hands underneath. Lovely. Lovely.
Why
Get
do you
all of
have
that
to
out.
rinse out his insides?
Well, it's all the blood in there. You want it nice and clean, and then you can dry it out so that all you taste when you cook it is the flesh. Beautiful. OK. Just pop it there for a second. Here we are. Now, we're going to make 2 little parcels for our fish. So, Freddie, if you can get 6 or 7 of those lemon slices and just put them in a little bed in the middle. Ooh, beautiful thing.
Place the fish on the lemons. Stuff the cavity with rosemary and thyme.
Now, Freddie, if you can get a lemon for me, give it a good squeeze over the top. And Lucy, if you can grab some olive oil and give that a scattering over the top as well. Sophia, a bit of pepper. OK, last thing then, a little bit of water because we're going to wrap this up in a package and it'll steam. Just a little splash, not too much. But at the same time, Lucy, a little bit of salt.
Seal up the package, ready for steaming.
Barbecue time.
Excellent, that looks fantastic. Now, we're going to cook these for about 20 minutes. And what happens is that all of the moisture in there, all the lemon juice and the water and the moisture from the fish steams. And it's the steam that will actually end up cooking the fish. And hopefully, all of the lemon underneath will give off its flavour and all those herbs will add and make it all really fragrant.
20 minutes later, and it's time to dish up the fish.
It smells of chicken, doesn't it? It does, actually.
I can feel it. I can feel it steaming. I can feel it boiling underneath it. Oh, look at that.
Is the other one as good?
Just a couple of days ago, the Gastronuts turned their noses up at anything other than battered cod. Now, they've scaled, gutted, prepped and cooked their very own fish.
It's fantastic. Can you smell that?
Yeah.
Oh, that lemon, all that rosemary and thyme. OK, let's see how good your cooking was. Oh, look at that.
That's good.
That is good.
You're pretty good cooks, you guys.
I think it's a brilliant idea. It's simple and easy, and it tastes delicious.
I like the process as well. And the fish is really scrummy, so I've really enjoyed it.
It was so much fun, where you can actually get to grips with what's actually inside the fish.
Do you think you'd try cooking your own fish now?
Oh,
Yes.
Yeah?
Definitely.
Oh, brilliant.
At the beginning, I wasn't too keen on fish, but now we've come to the end. I love fish, and I will start having fish a lot more.
I'm going to take a lot home, tell my brother, tell my mum, tell my grandparents, and hopefully they'll listen and try the same things that I'm going to try. Instead of just having boring, like, fish fingers, I've actually now tried fish that I haven't had, and now I know what they taste like. Oh, I'm going to have them more often and tell people what's nice and what's not so nice.
If I was offered fish fingers now, I would definitely have them because I like fish. But if there was another fish, like tuna, I would take the tuna instead because it's nice.
I think I won't just eat boring fish and chips. I'm sure I'll try and be an open-minded person and eat as many different fish as I possibly can.
What a fantastic experience. The Gastronuts have been so brave. They've got their fingers right into the guts of fish. They've tried these extraordinary foods that they've never had before, things like raw fish and soft-shelled crab, and they've tried these new cooking techniques that they've never even heard of before. It's a real privilege to be there with them when they're doing it. And I think what we found is that once you get beyond the batter, once you go into the water and you find out some of the secrets of the deep, there's so much fun to be had.
If you want to know what it's like to be me, then go to the CBBC website to play the globe-trotting Gastronuts game.
Join this lot each week for the hugest celeb guests, the biggest laughs, and the mightiest games.
Join us on TMI every Saturday from 9, CBBC on BBC Two.
Holly Walsh, you're not sweating. You can't be working hard enough.
Hello, I'm making loads of mini Dunstons out of these eggs to sell to our super fans, right?
So, how many have you made then?
About, I think, 57.
Rubbish!
Can I have a break now, please?
You're only allowed to break once a year and I tell you when it's time.
That's very unfair. I can take a break when I like. I don't want to have a break.
No, you're not allowed one.
What, something you can do to stop me? If I want a break, I'm taking a break. You know what else I'm taking?
My children!
I am going up to the BBC Oyster Bar to put my feet up. I'll see you later.
Fine, but you're going to miss new Pinky and Perky, which is new. And I'm not going to tell you what happened. I'm sorry you had to see that, fellas. She can be so pig-headed sometimes. I have to say, though, you look lovely. What's that? I look good too, why, thank you. It is nice to be appreciated once in a while.
Ah, Then we must talk, Dunstan T-Brain.
I'm hearing voices! Again! Ah!
You're watching PPC TV, now available in 5 fruity flavours.